So you should log into your site.
I'm in.
And I do see the microphone's working.
Great. I'm under videos right now, so I think when you go live, it really should go live on my computer, I hope. Although it is my channel, so.
That's what, yeah, I think you actually have to go into your video. That's what I had to do on mine. So go to your.
I'm in my video right here. So.
But you haven't refreshed it. Oh. Where's your refresh?
Maybe.
Maybe.
You're not supposed to notice things like that. There we go. Oh, that's good. I'm tiny.
I'm tiny.
I know. Now, do I click on it, right?
Yep.
We're live? Okay.
Yep. And don't forget, there's a 4.5 second delay.
I get it.
All right. So when you see yourself doing something that you already did, don't let it
freak out.
throw you off. Are you good with the?
Yeah, that's great.
How about that?
God,
we have everything on. We have your full gambling and your Pam Caughey.
And I can't see the chat. Is that something only you'll see then, or do I need to minimize my screen? Because
I think only I can see it because it's broadcasting from this one. You can't. You don't want people to see because what if they say nasty things, right? Like so. So I don't know how I'm going to feed those to you then because I don't know which ones are going to be. I would say if I were you, I'll answer the questions in a later session.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that because what I did, Joey, just so you know, is I have a printout of questions that were submitted. I'm not going to have time for live questions.
Yes. That's awesome.
I'm glad you're happy. Okay, so you can grab some printer paper though, and a big fat Sharpie somewhere. I don't know where there is one, but I think I have one here. You can you can tell me how many people. Just write a number on there and say how many people are on the thing. Or you
I'll use my dry erase boards.
Oh, there you go.
You could use it.
And I put
these products.
Right. I put the marker, the dry erase marker back in.
Oh, so this is dangerous. Don't put regular markers in with dry erase markers.
Was that a regular one? I thought
because people you'll naturally grab one when you're late at night.
I thought that was dry erase. Sorry, my bad. Yep. Sorry.
It says marks a lot. I don't know. It says permanent actually.
I'm trying to remember where I used that because I thought it was doing something on dry erase. Oh well, it doesn't really. Whatever.
All right. So you want me to let you know how many people are tuned in?
Yeah, when it is 100. You don't have to do it I'd say every 10, 15 minutes, because
sure.
I'm just curious.
Sure.
But it's really not. Yeah.
Just to let you know, what the audience size is.
Yeah. Cool. It's even focus. Wow.
We have 4 minutes. That looks good for you?
Wow. Amazing. I'm so impressed. I love it. Now, if only the painting can be any good. Who knows?
Well, this is the play stage. So you're going to go through play, explore, and clarify?
No. In an hour, I'm going to say, you know what, guys? This is play. The reason I can do a live video is because it doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah.
And, that's the beauty of it. And I want you guys to see how, I don't take it too seriously.
Holy crap, you already have 18 people.
Yeah, well, you're late.
2, 4. You have 4 minutes.
So what you can do is not really. I was hoping I could see.
So you're good with this. This doesn't need to be changed the whole time.
That's good, but that's fine. But I guess I was hoping I could see the chat. Let me just minimize and see if I can see chat. Because everybody tuning in should. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Good. Okay, because then I can say hi, and I that's more important.
I just walked in.
Hey, cutie.
It's very Dracula, isn't it? It's like, well, hello there. I'm coming a little bit later.
Yeah, they can hear you, right? It's okay. Hi, everybody.
You're the ones that keep
Please excuse my intern. He just got his haircut. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'll get serious. Thank you for being here. I have my computer here so I can actually see you coming in. And yeah, thank you guys for introducing yourselves and telling me where you're from. Well, we've got Emma Wade from South Africa, and we have somebody from British Columbia. That's Jay Leslie. We have somebody from Norway. Great to see you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. It's a little early, just a few minutes, which is great. We were testing out the equipment, and I appreciate you being here. And if this works out for you guys, I'd like to make this kind of a regular thing. So if you like that idea, if this is a good time for you, 2 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on a Saturday, I will try to do this kind of more regularly. I'm going to talk to you about the prep I did for this live stream here. And this is probably only the third live stream I've ever done on YouTube. So if you like the idea of live streaming, it is kind of fun because it's, you know, it's unscripted, it's totally unedited. I'm going to make mistakes. It's all fun. And I love to share, you know, what I'm doing. And because this is a very large scale piece of paper behind me, I've got a lot of area to cover. So I kind of like to talk about some of the main questions I keep seeing recurring in YouTube. So that's kind of why I felt like, hey, let's do a YouTube live. Or I just want to let you know too, I'm going to repeat this because not everybody's here yet, but can't really answer your questions while I'm painting. I guess you guys can figure, you know, you're fine with that. However, I have a, it's a form, it's a link. And when this YouTube video, when the live stream is over, you're going to be able to click on the link. And I'm going to tell you about a contest giveaway that's going to happen this morning. Actually, it ends at midnight tonight, so you're going to want to hear that. And so basically what's going to happen is that I know you have questions, and I'm going to be answering questions that have actually already been submitted, except for like if we have more time and you guys want to stay longer, that's fine. If you want to stay, I'm happy to answer your questions, but just so you know, the prize giveaway has to do with you guys submitting questions to me. Right, you guys submitting questions to me, and so what's going to happen is there's like 2 places where you can find this link to submit your questions. And this has to do with the prize giveaways. You're going to really want to listen to this part. There are 2 places. Underneath the live stream, there's a comment section. And at the top, if I post a comment, it usually stays on the top. I can't post that comment, though, until this is over with. So bear with me. I know you want to enter the contest giveaway, and I'm going to explain what the prizes are. They're kind of awesome, and but just know that when this ends, you can start to submit, you can start to enter this contest. So the contest is basically submit a question for me that I can answer on YouTube. It's that simple. It can even be a challenge, because you know in the last video that I did, I gave a prize giveaway for those people who offered a challenge, and I'm going to actually be doing some of those challenges. Okay, very excited. So what's going to happen when this video ends, when the live stream ends, is you are going to go into the comment section and see the very top comment. Give me about 10 minutes to get it posted, okay? Because I have to post the link for you. Also in the description box, there's always a description box below every single video that you ever go to on YouTube. And in my description box, I will also have this link where you go, and you're going to be able to submit your question, okay? And by submitting your question and giving me the information like your mailing address, because I can't give you a prize if I don't know your address, just the way it is. I could guess, but probably come right back to my house. So just so that you know, 2 places, description below the video, first comment, it always rises to the top for whatever reason. I guess if I post a comment, it goes to the top. You're gonna have to give me 10 minutes after the video to enter your question. And the contest giveaway is gonna end at midnight Mountain Daylight Time tonight. And there's some other things that are cool, but I'll save that for a little bit later. So I'm gonna get started here. Hey everybody, thank you for joining me. I'm really, really happy and honored that you took time out of your Saturday to join me here in my studio. And I actually have my intern, Joey, who, to be honest, I probably couldn't do this without him. He's a tech wizard. And there's a lot of technology involved with doing these kinds of things. And you know, for the last year, I've kind of done things on my own, and I'm hoping to deliver better content as time goes on. I'm trying to listen to what you guys want. So that's why when I ask you for what your challenges are, not only for you, but like if you have a challenge for me, I'm interested, because every challenge that you, everything that is challenging to you, I'm almost sure I have also had that very same challenge. And as much as I appreciate your compliments and you like my paintings and things like that, I just want you to know I'm just an average artist. I'm nothing special. I struggle just like you. I work hard just like you. You know, we're all kind of in the same boat. That's the way I look at it, and that's why the only thing that's happened in my past that really makes me want to share everything I know, like there is nothing that I wouldn't share with you guys. The reason is because I struggled really early on. I didn't have a lot of support, and I think that has motivated me now. I've been working as an artist for 30 years, and so if there is anything I can help with, I want to help you, because I don't want to see people struggle the way I did. I wasted literally 20 to 30 years where I could have been so much further ahead. And and you know, life is short. I've said that before. I want you guys to have as much information as you possibly can so you can like cut your learning curve down to like a sliver instead of decades. There's no reason why any artist should have to suffer to get this kind of information, but it's not that easy to find. So, okay, so what are we doing today? What are we doing today it's 4 feet, 4 feet across here, 4 feet across here. So we've got 8 feet by 4 feet, and this is Arches oil paper. And so it's large scale, yes. And so one of the things I want to do while I'm doing this demo for you is I want to answer some questions that are kind of like the top 5 most commonly asked questions. One of them happens to be, how do I work larger? Okay, so one of the things that happened while I was preparing for this live stream on YouTube was I started to think, okay, to deliver this information, I want to make sure that you get the information that you need if you want to work large scale. So basically, I have set up my palette here, and the next question, another top question is, well, what colors do I use, right? So I know the tendency for a lot of artists, not necessarily beginner, I mean, you could be an advanced artist, but you know, like what colors do you start with, right? So I thought about that, and I decided that I'm working with a limited palette, and I only have, if you can see my palette here, and I'm actually gonna, after this live video, I'm going to actually repost this video with some close-ups, because I know it's hard for you to see. But just so that you know, I'm gonna just hold the swatch up. Don't worry if you can't see it. Yeah, what this is the colors that I'm using today. Now this looks like a ton of colors, doesn't it? But there's only 3 colors plus black and white. And when I did this swatch, this is called a swatch, and I encourage you all to do this. It kind of made me feel like, wow, maybe I have too many colors. It's a lot. And the way that you get so many variations here, and so you know what I'm using cadmium red deep, that's over here. I'm using Payne's gray in the middle. And then I'm using transparent earth yellow over here. And then what I've done, in addition to these main colors, which is the cad red, Payne's gray, transparent earth yellow, all the other colors you see are tints, tones, or shades. So in order to understand what that means, you kind of have to know the language. It's the visual language, and that's what I teach. I do have an online course, and a lot of you who are on this call are in my online course, so thank you for joining me, and you'll kind of know what that means. So that's the first thing I did, was I started to think about a limited palette, and then I tested it, because I didn't want to get on live YouTube here and not know what I was doing. So the first thing I did was this, okay? But then that wasn't where I stopped, right? Because I wanted to get more of a feel for like, well, what can I do with these colors? So here's a close-up of, you know, the more variations, right? So basically what I'm doing here is I'm taking those 3 main colors, the cadmium red deep, the transparent earth yellow, and the Payne's gray, plus black and white. And you can kind of see, just glancing at this, that you're gonna see value differences. You're going to see a lot of grays, the tints, tones, and shades, all the things that I teach in my course, because that's what you get. You can do this with 1 color plus black and white. If this is 3 colors plus black and white, so actually look at it, there's a lot of color. So for those of you who wonder, like, what color should I use when I paint, I think it's important to understand that you can get a lot with just a very small number of colors. It could be 2 colors, it could be 1 color. 1 color is a monochromatic palette. Two colors can be any combination. It could be a complementary palette. It could be a carbon analogous color scheme. So anyways, those are just little things I wanted to add. Also today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about collage, because what I'm working in today is cold wax medium and oil, but I also want you to know that almost everything I talk about, except for the technical aspects, is going to apply to acrylics, watercolor. You could be a colored pencil artist. You could be, just a traditional oil painter, because a lot of what I'm talking about is process. So I don't, even though I'm working in cold wax medium and oils, and that is what my demos are done in my course, I want you to know that if you're an acrylic artist, I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that apply. It doesn't matter what medium you work in. I work in 4 mediums, and my process applies to all 4 mediums. And for those of you who wonder how to get a cohesive voice, it's treating each medium the same, so that whatever you love, you have to figure out how to make that medium comply with your needs. It's not the other way around. When I was younger, when I was doing watercolor, I would kind of like, okay, what does watercolor want to do? What does acrylic want to do? What does collage want to do? What does encaustic want to do? Well, they all have their pros and cons, but it's not what the medium wants to do. It's what you want the medium to do for you. That's why it's really important to figure out what it is that you love about the art you create, because once you know that, and it is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. In fact, it's a lifetime, it's a lifelong journey. I go through this daily, and I expect that I will for every day that I paint for the rest of my life. The journey continues. You never get to the end of your journey, and if you did, it would be like, that would be pretty disappointing. So, okay, so again, I will talk about collage, talked about colors, and then another question is, when is my painting finished? We'll get to that a little bit later, and then again, that's the personal voice. So let's see what else. Now that we're officially started, I will reiterate that if I have a contest giveaway, and I guess I'll just touch on that because I know a lot of you are interested in it. I do like to give away products from companies that support me, because I love to spread, the information that they give me. So in this particular today, the way to enter this contest again is to go into the description after this video, this live stream is over, and post a question or a challenge, either one. So either in the comment, the comment below is great. Below the video, please like and subscribe the video. I also really appreciate that. But in addition to enter the contest, remember, I need to know where you live. If you win and I don't have your address, I can't just guess where you live. So what's really important is that after this video, I'm going to post in the description box below the video, as well as in the first comment below this video, a link where you go and give me your name, where you're from, your address, and you can post your question. And I'm going to pick the top, this is not just random either. I want you to really think about the question, what is a question that you'd really like answered by me on YouTube? Because I'm going to pick the questions that I feel are the most innovative. Maybe they haven't been asked before. I'm looking for something really unique. So the prizes are, I've talked about Vote Tab, and Vote Tab is a product made by our sons. And just out of curiosity, if any of you would like to meet my older son, who actually invented this product, it came from when we went to Brazil, his family, and he's an extreme athlete, and he wanted to bring a product to people, any person who wanted more energy. So there's a story behind it. It's a great story, and I'm hoping that he comes to Montana to tell you his story. Part of what I want to do at Art and Success is bring stories of people who are creative in their lives, and painting is one of them. But how about being an entrepreneur? Okay, and how about being an engineer? You're creative. How about being an architect? You're creative. So creativity is just something that it's in everybody's life. it's what you do with it. So again, I'm going to be giving away some, like a week-long supply of vocab, which is a natural form of energy. I take it every day. This is why I'm here. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have gone through grad school if I didn't have this product. So I'm very, very happy that my sons came up with this. All right, and then I've also got some things from Gamblin. I've got some Gelfid Light and this quick drying titanium white. They have, I'm going to be giving this to probably about maybe 3 people will win this. And then I also have, there's this lovely set of professional Gamblin oil paints. And in the last contest giveaway, I have a winner for that as well. Well, today, if you get your question in by midnight, somebody's going to win this. It's very heavy too. So I'm afraid this particular thing is only going to be a US winner because I can't ship it to Europe. So with that, let's get started. I know you're waiting for me to stop talking and start painting. So you can't really see my palette, but working large is it's just very doable. Okay, because imagine this could be on your floor. And you can put plastic down, drop cloth in your living room. I used to work in my living room. I've worked in a lot of different types of studios. And yeah, I seem to be pretty lucky now because I have space. But believe me, I've had people ask me, well, have you ever worked in a cramped space? Absolutely. And I worked on like a 4 foot by 6 foot thing, very cramped space. But anyways, this is on the wall. This is Arches paper. A lot of people ask me, how do you attach your, I think it's a cradle panel, but actually this is paper. And if you saw my mistake video where I made a mistake in measuring, my intern Joey helped me to make sure that these are now square. There's a seam down the middle with white tape. They're 248 by, well, actually they're 51 by 51 inch panels, so that makes it about 4 feet by 8 feet. Scaling up means that everything scales up, not just the surface, but also the massive quantities of everything. So because I'm working polarized medium, now if you were working acrylic, it'd be the same deal, right? But this is how much polarized medium that I've mixed up. And I also have some backup polarized medium in case I run out. And I mean, here I've got a pile of white, a pile of my Payne's gray, my cadmium red medium deep, cadmium red deep, my transparent earth yellow. And I happen to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piles of gray. So if you're in my course, you know why I did that. I wanted to have it on hand. I didn't want to have to be mixing while you're watching. So I'm just going to get started here. And you know, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I love to make marks. I want to explain why I make marks and why I start in this way. Because this is a brand new sheet of paper, we all have this thing about white paper, like, how do I get started? It's so hard, right? But it actually isn't hard, and you know, the reason why I don't have any problem showing you what I'm doing right now, like, because you can't make a mistake. There are no expectations. You can't do anything wrong. So that's the beauty of this stage. So what I'm doing right here, I've gathered some of my favorite mark making tools, and as you probably already know, I list all my favorite tools at my artandsuccess.com website. You just go to resources and they're all there. And the reason they're there, and I started it because it was so easy for me to find them. And I thought, well, you know, that's pretty awesome because I just have to go there and click the link and I can order it. So basically, when I mark make, I'm not thinking, okay? So, and sometimes I'm not even really looking. And what happens, especially when you're working large scale like this, is see how like the movement is very important for getting a feel for like space. This is so much larger than the way that, you know, you work on a full 5 by 7 inch sheet of paper, right? So it's a different feel, and I need to examine this real estate here that I'm going to be living with for a pretty long time. And I don't need to be even looking at the paper. You don't have to be looking. You just have to be doing. Okay, so part of the fun of this is you saw how it started white. It's just white paper, right? And this is just a chunky charcoal here. And charcoal really does smear. And some of you asked, well, what about your marks? Aren't you worried about them smearing? No, because what's wrong with the smear? I don't care if it smears. Not at this stage, because, you know, a lot of paint's gonna go over this, right? So right now, I'm just trying to get a feel for space. And I wanna get to know the surface that I'm gonna be living with and painting on. So I do like to change up my materials, you know, a lot. So that was a chunky charcoal. This happens to be a little crayon. Again, you know, it's fun to do things that are like, you know, super huge like this, like using all of your arm movements, and then do something really concentrated like this. And I could say that, yeah, I sort of try to maybe avoid dead center. I've got a seam down the middle. It's just that I know that if I put something really dark there, it's going to have to be dealt with later. Another one of my favorite things is this Winsor & Newton black. And by the way, before I did this live, I prepared my RNF pigment sticks as well as this Winsor & Newton black because it has a skin on it, and if I didn't do that, I'd be wasting a lot of your time. But look at how juicy this line is. Just by adjusting the amount of pressure I put on this, it's a very luscious and dark. I just, you know, and it's one of my favorite things here. I mean, I could use an RNF pigment stick too, and I will later, but for now, I just want to show you that this is a beautiful line. And also, whatever seam you have in your work, just ignore it. Don't even pretend that it's not even there, because you want to treat whatever it is you're working on as if it's one. Okay, so then I also like to take my charcoal, and what I did, I just had these little cosmetic puffs. I put my charcoal in here just to have a little bit larger surface to work with. I like this as well because, yeah, it's gonna smear, but I like the edge quality. I like the value differences. Notice how light this value is, and value is how light or dark something is. So here it's really light, here it's getting darker. And I can even, like, if I have a dark mark here, then it makes sense for me to maybe add some dark right near that, just to kind of group my values together. And so, you know, just, again, this is a very large surface. This is probably one of the largest surfaces I've ever worked on. So I have a lot of material, a lot of area to cover. And here you can use a paper towel too. You don't have to use these little cosmetic puffs. But just kind of have fun with it. And I'm going to grab a paper towel. So again, when you work large, everything gets larger. So cosmetic puff might have been fine for 5x7, but now I think I need a paper towel to cover, you know, like really juicy stuff here. And also when I get to these marks, this is that Winsor & Newton black oil color. I like to smear it. I also like to use my hand a lot. And just kind of put some elevation to the palm of your hand is different from your fingertips. And you just kind of get to really bond with your surface is what's happening. And I do love marks. So now if I didn't love marks, and some of you might be a realist painter, nobody says you have to start this way. I'm just showing you my process. If you're a realist painter, or, you know, you love a certain thing like landscapes, you don't have to start with marks. You can start with whatever you want. But again, this is how I tend to start. And especially when I'm working large, I feel like I have to get a feel for, like, the amount of space. This is a lot of space to cover. Okay, so I used a fair bit of this charcoal, and my hand is kind of a mess. Okay, so then it's like, you know, when the mark making is over with, you can, a lot of times I will stand back and, you know, take a look. And the other thing I did before this live video is I did 12 like practice paintings, or four before over here, which you can't see. And I just did that because I wanted to get to know the palette. So that's another really good thing you can do. So now that I've basically done the mark making, and I can always return to that later. I also have all my paints on this tray, and you can't really see it from where you are, but just so you know, I've got Arna pigment sticks already ready to go. I could take some of those and just add a little bit of color. Here's my indigo, and here's my red deep. I'll just add a little bit of it so you can see that these are Arna pigment sticks. They're wonderful. They come in, a lot of different sizes, but this is just a really nice one. Right now, it looks, very much like the black, but it's actually made with ultramarine blue, and you won't see that for a while until I maybe add some white to it. But here's the cadmium red deep. You can add color. Again, I've got a limited palette, so I'm fine with using these colors now because I think they're going to be fine with the palette. All right, so now the other thing I told you I was going to be working on is layers. So mark making number one, and then layers. Sometimes in workshops I will put just a layer of cold wax medium over the marks. They kind of lock them in, and you can kind of see what smears and what doesn't smear, and I'm fine with whatever smears, but you can see like there's not a whole lot of smearing going on. So I put it on, but then I can take it off, right? So I put it on, and I can just move it on. So yeah, I could do that, and I could cover the entire surface, but I'm not going to do that this time because it really, that's a choice you make. It's an individual choice. I think what's happening is, it can make the surface a little darker. You get a lot of unexpected effects and things like that. But maybe what I'll do is just show you how I would work in some collage paper. And I'm just going to add it in here. All right, so I'm going to keep adding this cold wax medium. If you're working with collage paper on a cold wax medium oil painting, a lot of people are like, well, how do I do that? You need to have the oil underneath it. And I made this discovery that I wasn't aware of before this live stream. And so I just wanted to share that with you because in the past, I've talked about PVA size. And this is just rice paper. So if you're going to collage into a cold wax medium oil painting, the thinner the paper, the better. I've heard people talk about tissue paper and gold leaf and things like that. Those are great because they're super thin. Well, rice paper is also very thin. And so in a previous video, I used store-bought collage paper, but I love to make my own. So I did make my own. And you can see this is crazy, but I did use stencils, but I used spray paint. It's an acrylic-based spray paint. So because it's on this paper, I coated both sides with Liquitex clear gesso. It's on in my resource section because it's not that it's hard to find, but I think Liquitex makes a clear gesso. There might be one other company that makes it, but it's not every company makes it. I don't think Golden makes a clear gesso. Anyways, the reason I did clear is because now you can see the mark. So I just want to show you that I made a couple different papers here. So this was acrylic on rice paper, and I just coated both sides with the clear gesso. It dried really fast, and any wrinkles that I had actually came out, so I'm really happy. This actually was spray painted on there, so let's see. I might just grab maybe this one here. I thought it'd be fun to try and incorporate some collage paper into this. And I wasn't gonna take the whole thing, so you can share it, obviously. And then you want to just make sure you've got enough cold wax medium underneath. So here's my big spatula. Just make sure you've got plenty underneath it like this, and just really mush it around. There's a lot on there, So you're just gonna. You don't like this texture, so I'm gonna tear that off and just kind of add that here. And you're gonna press it into that cold wax medium. Now, because there's clear gesso, it's very receptive to cold wax medium, which is underneath it, right? And then I'm going to take my Mastermind script, and that's what this is called, by the way. It's a silicone gold scraper. What you want to do when you put collage paper on there is make sure there's enough cold wax medium underneath it, so you're going to like do that. And then, make sure that all the edges are nice and secured down. Go over it again. You can sneak some underneath it if you need to, but I tested this out and it seemed to work quite well. It doesn't, the next day you might come in and need to add a little bit more, but basically, I think by treating it with the clear gesso, you're going to get a little bit better adhesion than, say, if you didn't use clear gesso, because the gesso is very absorbent. Work with it until you get the bubbles out, work from the center out like that. Okay, so I'm really just trying to, really with this, I think today I'm just trying to show you some different methods that I use to get things going. So mark making is one of them. Okay, so there's the collage paper. And again, you want to kind of, the next day come in and make sure that all the edges are secured. You can always add more of wax medium. Also take the excess off like that. All right, so another thing is, for adding some paint. Like that. So what I've done, because this is a large scale painting, is I've cut some stencils here ahead of time. And these are just made of newsprint. So I'll show you how I do this. So again, when you work large scale, everything has to scale up. And so what I did is you could kind of see how these were cut. It's like a big sheet of newsprint. You can see how they fit together. Can't see it all that well, but so that's how they fit together, right? It doesn't mean that I have to necessarily use them together, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to try that. So again, just to cover some area, and I love shape. If I didn't love shape, I probably wouldn't be working this way. So again, it matters what you care about, and it's not about doing what I'm doing. It's like, I've spent 30 years figuring out that what I really care about is shape. So even though I'm working cold wax medium, and even though this medium is really great for texture, it's not that I don't like texture, but I think that texture is pretty easy to get in cold wax medium. It's a little harder to get shapes that you love and you care about. So again, you have to kind of, your tools have to scale up. And let me just try to take some of this transparent yellow and put quite a bit on there. And I'm just going to start to make this shape. And even though it's kind of popping up here, you go from the newsprint to the center of your shape like this, okay? And you can put it on thickly, but then of course you can lift it. Notice that it's just a beautiful transparent color. In my palette, I have both transparent and opaque. Cadmium red deep is an opaque. How do I know that? Partially from using it, but also because right on the tube, it says so. And most brands of paint are going to tell you that, whether it's transparent or opaque. In the case of cadmium red deep and Gamblin, it's a Gamblin paint. It tells you right on the tube that it's cadmium red deep is opaque, and this transparent red yellow is transparent. And the Payne's gray is, I think it's semi-transparent. So I kind of got a variety, which is what I wanted. You're going to probably have better results if you combine, pick it like an opaque and a transparent, rather than say two transparents or two opaques. Because transparency and opacity is one of the characteristics of color, as well as saturation and hue, that you just don't want to miss, because they're really important. So if I want to make a shape, it's going to move on a little bit, but where I'm holding it, I can actually cover quite a lot of area. Again, you can kind of mark into that and lift. So this is how you get more of a specific shape, and it doesn't even mean that the shape is going to stay here, because I can obliterate it later. But I'm just trying to think about the amount of paper I have here. I have a lot of surface area to cover, so I'm just trying to get something going. And now I don't have a stencil, but I can just freeform it, right? So you want to make sure you've got plenty of paint mixed up so that you don't just run out midway and then have to stop and then kind of lose your momentum. So I've used it here, and I could use it again. So I will save it. I'm not going to throw it away. And there's some, it's not a perfect stencil. You can see where it kind of bled underneath here, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. So, some other stencils here. So this one, I'm sort of into circles a lot, so I might try and put some circles on here. And and even when your cold wax medium gets a little dark from, say, all the graphite and things, whoops, it can be used again. Just mix it, combine it with a darker color you can find. Nice. Mix this line. So if I mix the red, getting ready. This. I spend a lot of time mixing color, getting just that right value. You know, except in this stage, it's not really all that critical. It's all kind of about, for me, it's all about, well, what haven't I done before? What can I try that's new and different so that I don't get bored? And so I can take this freezer paper and just put this. I just mix this puddle of, it's a really beautiful kind of maroon color. And I can sort of press it in here. Okay, so now you can see that color. And maybe sort of recenter, or where the center is, and just press it. You could use a grater, but you don't have to. And then what happens if you just, you know, slide it down? What happens then? That's kind of an interesting mark. I like this this edge quality, especially since this is a hard and sharp edge. Always trying to do my fingerprints, but you know, then you can go back into it and just keep pulling it down and trying to cover this a lot of square inches here. How far can I make this paint go? Okay, so kind of like that. Here's my paper. I can use that again. I can go back into this, but the way I like to think about it is if I'm going to go back into that, I want to change it. So right now, it's pretty dark. I don't mind how dark it is. I think I'll go a little bit lighter. So I've got all these grays mixed up, and I'm going to just take some, this is like kind of a lighter gray, and I'm going to take it over here, mix this up. And this is really going to change this color. I'll either like it or not like it. So if I don't like it, I can change it. Right now, it's kind of, as you can imagine, if you add white to a maroon, it's kind of a very grayed mid-tone pink. And I might be okay with that, I might not be okay with that, but that's where, you know, your sense of color comes in. And so if I want to change it, because I don't have to take that, I can add a little bit more transparent yellow, just right here. So go a little bit more red and yellow, make orange, so that it kind of warms it up a little bit. I think I like that better. So a little bit of that transparent color to it. And gotta stir it really well. Stir it. Gotta mix it really well. Now I could just do the same thing I did before, but I could also, I was talking about those dots, so let me try that. Let's see, where's my, if you came on later, just to let you know, there's a giveaway, and it has to be, you have to submit a question or a challenge on the link that's either in the description of the comment box when this live video is over. Please like and comment below. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Let me know that you're there and that you're enjoying this type of content. And you know, if enough of you kind of like this sort of live stream, I will do it again, probably on a Saturday, because I kind of did a little poll, and that's what people seem to like. So now I've got some paint over here that's kind of holding the stencil in place. I'm really not doing anything more. I can be careful, and depending on how I hold this Messermeister, I can put it on. I can put it on like this and get good coverage, but maybe that's okay for one circle, but maybe I don't want to do that for them all. And here's one that's just a little deeper. So if you do that, I'll show you some different varieties of ways to manipulate the paint. Let's just get it on there first. Okay, so now it's kind of sticking to what was underneath it, right? And yeah, I could go back to that same color, but I could also change it. So maybe I don't want that very same dusty pink. Maybe I want like a pop of red. So now, I can take this and come right here. I guess when I go back into the paint, I don't feel like I want to do the very same thing again. So I'm just trying to change the colors. I'm just going to change a little bit of this pink gray. This whole idea of layering, it is a process because you always want to be thinking like, I mean, these are circles, but what if I took some newsprint, and I've got a cutting mat over here. So I'm going to cut some little clips in here. So I cut some strips of paper, and let's say that a little bit wide. I'm going to tear this down like that. Not have enough stuff underneath it to stick. And if that's the case, all you have to do is add some cold wax medium. Oops. So the cold wax medium is kind of like the glue. Just hold your strip in place. You only need it to stay there long enough to get the paint up there. So maybe what I'll do here is I'll go light. And take a little gray. And half of it. And just hold it. you're gonna get some smearing because I'm really working wet into wet here, and I'd like to see how far I can go with that, but at some point, you know, you don't want to make a ton of mud, so it's kind of good to just know when that's going, and just let your painting set up a little bit, but notice how you can get some, you know, just because you have a shape, tweezers or something, here, tweezers. Thanks for the tweezers. So that'll be some stripes. And you have this little piece of paper, you can actually go like this, turn it around, and make a little more of it. Like this. I'll make a this here. The beauty of the cold wax medium, for those of you who either use it or maybe you want to try it or whatever, it's just a wonderful medium that you can get lots of texture and maybe a longer time to work with it. Acrylics I love too, but they dry up a little faster. And so let's say that you put some paint on here, and that's a very light value, but when you lift up the paper, you can see that, it shows, because this value compared to the white paper is a little bit darker. So I'm going to keep going with this and get some dark. So I'm kind of aware that it's funny, like a lot of times I'm not aware, but I feel like this is kind of midway, just kind of peripheral vision. So I think what I'm going to do is just like this and stop there. These silicone tools are wonderful for this medium because I love geometry, so that's the other thing that I enjoy, in terms of shape and that kind of thing. So if I want that kind of an edge, that's how I can get it by using these tools. So now I don't really have just this plain transparent red yellow. So we'll just do that down here. I really want to get a little line in there, so I just do that. Okay, so you get the idea. Maybe down here, I'll put more of this color. You can also mix on the paper. You don't have to mix only on the palette. So if I add some mid-tone gray here, move it around, get some interesting marks. And there's this black line, you see it's still there. But I can also re-emphasize that. Maybe I'll take my iron cream instead of just, there it is. So, let's see. That's a real nice color. Here's also like experimenting with thick and thin. So maybe that's kind of thick. And then kind of grab. Again, mixing on the paper. Keep changing directions. And again, these are not going to be perfect circles, but I don't want them to be perfect. The thing about perfection, I'm never going for perfection because that's just not my goal. I don't want any of my work. I would never have that problem anyways. Nothing in mine is going to be perfect, and that's fine with me. I don't even know what perfect art is, I guess. I'm not sure what that means. I think it's perfect if you feel like you love it. That's what perfection is for me. You can also like draw back into these like that, make marks. So you get the idea. So I take this off. And, there's some paint on this side, so I could turn it around. There's not going to be a whole lot coming off of here, so it's kind of, I can tell the paint's not real thick, but, you can model it onto the surface like that. And I'll leave some marks, but again, not much. You can also reuse these stencils, though. They will dry, and then you can just keep reusing them. So, look at this other one. Oops. What I'm going to do though, because I know I won't get terribly far on this painting today while you guys are watching, so I was thinking that I would grab quite a bit of this. I'm going to take some of this dirt. This is just like a squeegee. But I was doing some experimenting. I was having kind of fun with some really broad marks. So, and it's kind of strange because I'm not standing back and normally I do all the time. But I might want to kind of catch this here. Kind of got a curve to it, so, but I also get that nice sharp edge, and you can see where it's going over the collage paper. So when you mix the color with gray, you get a tone. If you mix it with white, you get a tint. And if you mix it with black, you get a shade. So a lot of you out there are in my course right now, Colorful Design and Personal Color. And I just want to tell those of you who are, if you're thinking about the course and you haven't signed up yet, I have a special going till the end of August. And all you have to do is go to, it's www.loveyourart.com and you get 25% off, so that's $150 off the price. And that's good till the end of August. So I just wanted to let you know that if you're thinking about it, now's a good time. And I have, there is only, I think 10 coupons available. So if you're gonna do it, now's a good time to do it. Now's a good time to get into the course. And it's a lifetime course. So we have a wonderful Facebook group of artists that are taking it, and they like to post their work, they get to know each other. It's really a lot of fun. I certainly enjoy it. It's over 8 hours of content. So information in the course. So yeah. Okay, just play. Yes. So we're coming up on 3 o'clock. You guys might want to let me know if you want to see more of this, or if you want me to start answering questions, because I do have some questions that people have already submitted. I'm happy to move into that. Okay. If you guys want to continue watching, just say yes or no. My intern Joey's watching the chat. I can't watch it, but he is watching. You guys are anxious to leave, it's fine. Don't feel like you have to stay. But if you are enjoying the messes I'm making, then I'm happy to stay here and paint. And this is my Saturday, and I'm actually very happy to be in my studio, and it's really fun to have you guys here. Even though I can't see you and I can't hear you, but again, you know, comment, and like the video, that'll just let me know that you're perhaps want another Saturday live stream, because I'm happy to do it. I mean, it's fun. And I think I end up preparing more for it. So when I start to do it, this could be considered a pattern or whatever, but you know, I did these two in line, but then it's like, well, what if I move this over a bit, right? Isn't that more interesting than just like the same old thing? And then, you know, it's like scraping it. It's like everything I do, regardless of whether it's cold wax, medium, or acrylic, if you just, you know, like I don't know if that's going to show through here. Just like make mental notes of what's happening, and then like, what if these two shapes touch and form a larger shape? It's like kind of like what's going on down here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but this is I like this dusty blue color, and I'm really at this point I have so much square footage to cover here. So this is slightly curved, and every now and then I get this urge to just use my hands. So just a way to kind of sort of dig into it, but you get this way to feel the surface. And Arch's oil paper is just, I love Arch's oil paper. It's just, I also love the ampersand panels, and go back into this mark. So notice when I do that, I can make it a little bit. So I've got these circles, they're one size, right? But I don't want them to be identical in size or color. So I'm going to get a red to that and make it bigger. And then location, here's midline, and it doesn't matter. I'm not, you know, it's one of those things that I'm making a mental note of it. I can come back to these circles. And so do that before. Yeah, just so that you know, like by this point in this painting, I would be standing way back to get a feel for what's happening. It's very different when you can't stand back. And I know that that's what happens when you don't have a lot of space. So in some ways, you know, that's good too. Like maybe that's a good challenge. Just work on a painting where you don't have a lot of space, because you don't always have a lot of space. This is a very intense color. I didn't mix it with anything. But I do love red. So I could set up kind of this thing where I've got red there, and then there's a dark blue and a light blue, and then maybe here, just get it maybe smaller than this. And I know some people ask about mark making or paint, like, you know, why do you put it on if you're just going to cover it up? That's a very common question, but I look at it as nothing that you do is wasted. No supply is wasted, because even if it gets covered up, it's part of the history, and whatever the final result is, you never could have gotten there without every single thing you did. So it's kind of like sedimentation, you know, how do you get a mountain, right? Well, a mountain doesn't just happen overnight. It happens because of you know, eons of years to build that mountain. And you know, when you see that mountain, it's gorgeous. You don't say, well, only the final layers of sedimentation mattered. No, they all mattered, and that's what it takes to build a painting. All of these things, and all the little nuances that makes you visualize in art. So there's another question I thought I would just talk about. A lot of people have a question about personal voice, and they want to have cohesion, and kind of a very important topic, but it's also a very kind of mattered. Well, I mean, it is very important to have your personal voice, but I will just say that, if you're in a gallery situation, you're probably going to feel that pressure a whole lot more. And that's just because galleries, keep in mind, galleries are a business and they need to sell your work. Now, if you're not concerned with galleries, then you have more freedom to explore. And I've, in all the years that I've taught and worked with artists, and sometimes I'll come across an artist who's kind of young and they haven't been painting long, and they happen to paint some great paintings, and right away they want to run to a gallery. They get in because the paintings are good. Gallery loves their work. They might only have like 5 paintings. They sell that off the bat. And then what happens is the gallery wants to have like 10 more. Well, I want 10 more of these to be sold. Well, that artist who's young may not have discovered what their personal voice is yet. And now they're going to feel pressure. They're going to feel like they need to do this one thing for this gallery because they don't want to, they want to make the gallery happy, and that there's nothing wrong with that. So I guess my couple things I would say with regard to galleries: spend that time you need to spend to find who you are first, so that when it is time for you to find a gallery, whatever it is that's selling, whatever it is you're bringing to them, you're more than happy to make those for the rest of your life, or at least enough of them to make them happy and yourself happy. You don't want to be jeopardizing your growth for the gallery. And then as far as how you find your personal voice, it's really a question of just hours and hours and hours of playing. Playing is probably the most important of all the 3 stages that I go through. I would say play, which is what this is, and you can see how freeing it is. That this is when you make discoveries. This is when there's no pressure. And sometimes when there's no pressure, that's when you make the best discoveries about what it is you love. Because when you remove that pressure, there's no gallery that's breathing down your neck. There's no upcoming show that you're trying to make work for. You're just, playing. And literally, as I tell my students, it took me a whole year to start to understand what play really was, because I've been so used to, I felt like everything I was doing had to be perfect, had to please others, that they had to like it. And what happens is you're very vulnerable when you paint that way, because you care what other people think. Whereas when you find your personal voice, you don't care what people think. To me, that's when you find your personal voice. And that's how I knew when I caring what other people thought. I stopped caring what my husband said, at 3 in the morning when I was in the studio painting. I mean, he might say he loved what I was doing, but it wasn't done. And therefore I could keep going. And I wouldn't, so I'd take a picture because it's not going to be here anymore. And he started to know that. And it wouldn't matter what he said. He knew that I would probably destroy it because I knew that it either wasn't done. And, it's not enough for somebody else to love it. You have to love it. That's the ultimate goal, in my opinion, of what you're going after. It's fine to get feedback. I don't say critiques. Critiques are very valuable, but it's fine to get feedback. But if a person falls in love with your painting and they tell you to stop painting on it, you have to think, but what do I think? Because that's the most important part about it. What do you think? It doesn't matter what other people think. So I think that's a bit of a trap. So the way to really find, that personal voice, which the value of that to the world is that nobody can do what you do. And it's okay to copy because, everybody copies. And we all paint what we've seen, what we've known, you know, the museums we've gone to. It's kind of hard not to be influenced, but even when you copy, that can only go so far because, you know, the reason we copy is to learn technique and things like that. But you're not going to be able to sustain that for very long because it's not you. You're not that artist you're copying. You're going to learn a lot. Like you might copy an impressionist and learn about color, but you're not an impressionist. You didn't live the lives that they lived. You didn't live at the time they lived. So even though you gain a lot of experience by copying, it's not sustainable. And I did plenty of paintings where I copied Leonardo da Vinci when I was young. I was so proud of myself when I did almost what I thought was a pretty good copy of one of his drawings of a soldier, and I just loved it. I kept it, you know, it's in my portfolio. I probably even had it in my portfolio when I was trying to get into grad school. I just had it in there, you know, even though I did it when I was really young, I was proud of it, but I didn't continue to draw that way. But I also learned that to draw like Da Vinci, you know, you learn patience and you learn how involved that really is to get the proportions right of a figure and all the details that you have in that drawing and the power of observation. It's a very positive thing. There's nothing wrong with copying. I just think that, you know, you may do it for a year, you may paint like another artist for a year, but it's just not going to be enough for you eventually. Eventually you're going to get tired of it and say, you know, I get it, I know what they're doing, but now I have something to say. So that's why there's no reason not to share what you're doing. There is nothing that's original. And okay, so the only thing that I'm like at this close range, it's very hard for me aside from being a gigantic mess. What I'm noticing up close is primarily a lot of midtones. When I talk about midtones, what I'm talking about is so this is a value scale, and so the midtones are kind of like the very top, say top four. I use these a lot in my workshops, and I'm headed to New York City pretty soon, and I'm really excited. So if you guys are going to be in my workshop, let me know if you're on this live stream, and I hope that you are. But so value-wise, normally what I would do is I take a black and white photo of this because that's how you see color in terms of what I like to think of the bones of color, like what's underneath, what's, you know, what is about color that's really important, and it's how light or dark it is or how midtone it is, because the eye tends to see that first. And so just by squinting, I can, you know, I know that cadmium red is a midtone. So you guys should take a photo of your painting, convert to black and white, and midtone, 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 dark, 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 obviously. And then the paper is as white as it can be. So I am very aware, even at this close range, like where is my white? Well, it's not in a very good location now because that's something that you work on later. But what I can do at close range is I can look at this and say, okay, I can see the kinds of midtones I have. What don't I have? I like to ask, what don't I have? And one thing I don't have, because right now I have a lot of color. Like almost everything I have up there is color. I don't have some just plain old gray, and I love grays. They don't have to have color mixed with them. They can have a little bit, but they don't have to. So here's a midtone gray. Can't really see it very well, but I'm noticing like here, I don't want white on the edge, so I can close this gap just with gray. I can even ease it down the edge here, and this is kind of gradation. You know, not maybe the gradation we normally would think about in terms of say light to dark, but let's say it's going from gray, plain old gray to warm gray. That's gradation. Gradation is a design principle, and it's you know, things like balance, unity, and harmony. and contrast are all design principles. So then you see I've got this on the Mastermeister and I bring it back in again. So then I come back to gray. So gray, getting darker with gradation. And then I bring back that color, but maybe I come back this time and I grab a darker gray. Again, I'm a big fan of grays because I love color. But when you love color, the way to make color really stand out and let people know that you love color is to understand how to use what color is not. It's that thing where if you have too much of a good thing, it's not good anymore. And I've done plenty of paintings where I had, way too much color. Like I love red, and I remember doing this painting, showing it in my slide presentations of these poppies. And it's not that I don't love it or like it, I just like it, but it's got a lot of red in it. And I just, at that time, I was a very young artist, and I did what I knew. So it's okay to leave some white, because like I can start to, painting to me is also like sculpture, because I'm aware of edge quality. It is a flat surface. That's not like sculpture. But I'm very aware these white areas really attract the eye, which is the problem with texture. If you have too much texture, it may not be white and say red. It may not be white, maybe like, the difference between this value and that, but even that is making the eye do this thing. Sometimes you just want something to be quiet. And in this medium, getting something quiet takes some effort. And so a lot of times during our critiques, we talk about how do we quiet an area down, because maybe things got a little bit too busy. Again, trying to mix up the quality of edge. You've got, super sharp edges. You've got this amorphous edge, and this is definitely amorphous. And here's something about green and red. This is very white, so can I stay with these grays? I have a lot of color. I don't mind a little bit of color in my grays. I know from my my color chart that I'm able to get a lot of nuances of gray. I can add just a very small amount of any color, like say this mauve right here, mix it with the gray. And now it's not the same gray as the other grays that I mixed up. A little bit more. So it's kind of very dull, pinkish mid-tone gray. So if you're one of those people who beats yourself up and says, oh my God, it's ugly, I can't stand it, I'm gonna quit painting, I'm gonna sell all my supplies. I know what that feels like. It's hard, but the reason that that's happening is because it's the kind of thing that you're allowing your left brain is the analytical side, it's critical. And one of the reasons why it's very important to learn the visual language is because that language is power. That language is going to give you the ability to shut the left brain off. You're kind of helpless when you don't understand the language, because you can either say it's awful and it's ugly, or you can say, wow, I have a lot of neutral tones here. I have a lot of grays. I don't have a lot of saturation. I have a lot of mixtures. I don't have any pure color. And that's so much more positive than saying, oh my God, it's ugly. So you're just lacking the other side of the conversation. Your left brain knows the English language. So the only way to combat the English language, or whatever language you speak, is with a different language, which is the language of art. And that has to be learned. You have some intuition, and I had intuition. I had intuition for decades. But that wasn't enough. And I went to grad school. A lot of you know I worked with Nicholas Wilton. That was a great experience, and I'm always grateful to him for what I learned. But you know, I kind of just went from there, did my homework. You can learn from another instructor, you can learn from me or anybody else, but eventually you have to figure out how to make it stick. Because you can't just listen to somebody and say, okay, I get it. There's a lot of personal introspection that goes into figuring out whether what you heard rings true. Are you just going to believe it without questioning it? Or are you going to put in the time that it takes to make sure that, you know, are you going to own it? This is what I'm going to say. Okay, so right now, as you can see, I'm sorry to begin, because I start to see all this white paper, and I know it's going mid-tone, which is great, because a lot of my paints go too high key, which means a lot of light value. And I'm just trying to get rid of a lot of that white paper so that now I've got this swath here, and it's very close to center. So I kind of like that mid-tone blue, and just take some of that. And here I had a hard edge. Close that up. It's never a problem to have things like in the center. You can always offset that. But again, that takes practice. There are a few things you need to know to be able to do that. Well, I think I want to go, well, there's a lot of transparency. So it's a balance between transparency and opacity. While I'm painting, I'm gonna just answer some of these questions that people have asked me. Okay, so I printed these out, and again, after this video, you'll be able to submit questions and tell me where you are, so that if you're the winner, I can send you your prize. And again, the prizes are a week's supply of vocab. That's my energy product that our boys have made. And then samples of quick dry white paint made by Gamblin, professional grade, with a little bottle of Galpid. For those of you who like drippy paint, you can paint with a paintbrush. I also have a full set of the Gamblin professional grade oil paint set, as well as some of my note cards, mixed media, and caustic. It's like a five card set. So again, the deadline for submitting your question or comment or challenge via this link is midnight, Mountain Daylight Time. Now, if you live in a part of the world and you don't know what time that is in your part of the world, then all you have to do is go to the time converter. You can Google it, actually. You can Google time converter and find out, what time it is in your part of the world. So you put 12 midnight MDT, which stands for Mountain Daylight Time. And then it'll tell you what time it is in what part of the world. When you say put Norway, what time is it in Norway when it's 12 p.m. in MDT for Mountain Daylight Time? That's how you can figure out exactly what time it is your time. And if you guys are liking this content, please like the video. And also, if you like this time for a live YouTube Live, 2 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on Saturdays, I know there's never going to be a time that suits everybody, but please let me know and just put, yes, the time works for me and you like it, or no, you don't like it. I just want to know. It's just feedback, but it's very helpful to me. Okay, so, all right, getting back to the question. So, yeah, these were submitted earlier. Wendy Ketchum said, I'd like to see more detailed explanation and demonstration of collaging elements with cold wax medium. And she's a printmaker, so she wanted to incorporate her prints. And so, again, here's this collage paper that I put the clear gesso on, Wendy. So hopefully, you can see, if you saw that, you know, and I'm gonna be checking on it to make sure there aren't any air bubbles and just keeping an eye on the edges. And you know, you can always, like the next day after this dries, because I had collage for this other painting yesterday and I came in this morning and it's fine. But you do have to keep checking on it until it's completely dry. And you can always, like, here's the piece that I collaged on here. Just put another layer of cold wax medium, you know, keep checking on it. When it says that you're good. Ian McGuire asked, do you ever get caught up in forcing a painting but not being able to just stop and take a break? I'm a fellow abstract expressionist. I sometimes have a problem with trying not to fix it at once. Yeah, I think if I have a deadline, especially, a sense of I don't have time, you know, that's always puts pressure on you, and yeah, I can relate to that. And I think it's really, as I said in my last video, I think it's very important to step back, give yourself time to, you know, one thing Nick always said, which I was really relieved when he said it. He said that he literally doesn't work for more than, say, 3 hours at a time in his studio. Like, there's no working for 8 hours straight in your studio. And I used to think that if I didn't do that, I was like lazy or something. But when he said that, it's like, oh, it kind of gives you permission then to not feel like you're lazy. So I'm just putting some gray over here because gray is not the same as white. It's a little bit toned down. See if I can get any more collage paper in here. I mean, that piece over there is pretty small. Oh, I could put some dots in here. So all this paper that again, I made this with spray paint, and it's got it almost feels like sandpaper, but I do love dots, and so maybe I can find a place to put some dots in here. I like to share it. I'm not, you know, I'm not a big collage person necessarily, but if I'm gonna do it, you know, it is really nice when you can make your own collage paper, more personal, and especially if you use a stencil or something, you know, I mean, dots are dots, but I could do this by hand, but it would just take me a lot of time to actually make this. So I can put this in here, and if I have enough paint, so what I can do is take some of this cold wax medium. It has Galcid gel in it. I probably didn't explain it, but I combine my cold wax medium with Galcid gel because there are 4 reasons why. Here's the product here, but this is made by Gamblin. It's Galcid gel. The reason I like the gel, here's the liquid, Galcid light, and the gel. The reason I like the gel is because it's more like the consistency of the cold wax medium itself. It's you know, it's more viscous. And the advantages of using it are that it increases the strength of the paint film. That's very important. And flexibility. That's very important. It also speeds the drying of your oil paint. So who doesn't like that? I think, I don't know, I'm really impatient. So for me, I like that. Speeds the drying. And then I'm just one of those people who doesn't really like that, like it's too matte. And in the end, I like a little bit of satin. So the Galcid gel will give you a little bit of satin. Okay, so there, I just collaged on a piece of paper, and I think that's on there for good. The advantage of the clear gesso is that just like you can work over an acrylic paint, but I learned the hard way that it's a good idea to, if in doubt, trying to find the marking tools here. Get some somewhere there. It's good to put that clear gesso on there because anyone has problems of the oil paint not adhering. So again, mark making is fine at any time. And the thing about these lighter areas is that the marks are going to show, you know, even more. I can show you some Gamsol. Gamsol is a solvent. You want to have good ventilation. And normally I would have a metal trash can here. I forgot to change it out. But, so take a paper towel and so if you want, you can either mix Gamsol with your paint on the palette to thin it out, or you can just keep it here. And let's see, I just want to spread that a little bit and get more of a wash wet effect. I mean, it's kind of get a little dirty and grungy, but I don't mind that. And I'm trying to close some of this white space. Way too much white space. And then maybe I'll just come in with this guy. The other question was from Food and Cuisine, how do you present your finished large artist oil paper at work? Artwork. So what I do, a lot of people have asked me again, how do I get this to stay on the wall? But it's paper, so all I have is white tape, top, bottom, and sides, plus it's down the middle. And this time I measured it correctly, like the other time, Joey helped me. So I mounted, it's quite a process. I've got some videos on YouTube if you want to see how I mount it onto. I use Baltic Birch panel because it doesn't, it has the kind of the least amount of warp. I have them custom made usually because I'm not always thinking about a custom size, and anyways, by the time you get pretty large, you just have to order them. So local cabinet maker can do it, carpenter, maybe a spouse if they're good with tools, they can help you, but you actually have to order them. And then it's just a process of using, I use line co glue to adhere paper onto the panel. A lot of times when you just put something on, it can feel a little weird at first, so you have to figure out how to integrate it. So when I first did that, I didn't like this stuff. And I haven't really shown you more of it, so that you just take anything that's like freezer paper, shiny side like this, and so I've gotten pretty dark, and what I could do then is take some of that mid-tone ready and anything that's, you can use wax paper, anything that's not absorbent, freezer paper, wax paper, palette paper, and put a bit of paint on there. Okay, so there's a shape. And I made it kind of this value because I've gone pretty dark here, and then you have to decide what way you want it. So I've got like, this is the size of my hand, smaller, I have to close that up. This is a bigger white shape. I'm trying to figure out like the whites are kind of guiding the eye through the skin, even though it doesn't mean it'll stay that way, but like where would this go? Where's it gonna show up? How about here? And then you go like this. It's kind of blind because with the wax paper you can see through it. I can't see through it, so I'm guessing there it goes. It's gonna lift, you can see where it lifted, but that's a very different kind of mark than, and then you got that, and so then you can monoprint it again. I should flip it around, and it's just like a repetition of a shape, but I don't ever like to just like take the same place, so. And then, there's still some more on there, so put this here. All right, now, here's another question. So Maureen Howard says, I've seen you put your canvas on the walls and they stay put so nicely. So it's not canvas, it's paper. So I just answered that one. Michelle Van Dyke says, where do you purchase your Demar resin and beeswax? That's when I was making the cold wax medium. So there's a video on that that I did a live YouTube video, and you can find it on the website. As far as the materials go, Demar resin and beeswax, and so I think I might leave it at that, everybody. This is kind of stage one. It's just the play stage, and I expect there will be a part two. Let's see if there's anything else I need to cover. Again, if you guys are interested in my my powerful design personal color course, we had a lot of students, hundreds of students in there, and I think that they're seeing improvement in their artwork, and I'm very happy to share what I know. It's over 8 hours of information, lots of lectures, and there's some exercises and lots of videos. And again, you can get $150 off. That's 25% off. And the place to go is, I'll post it below the video, but it's art.com. And that already reflects $150 off. And that's good through the end of August. And so I guess that's probably it. I know you guys have a lot of questions, so I'm going to be looking for those. Inside again, when you fill out that, go to the link and fill out your information, I'll get your name and I'll be able to send you some prizes, and I wish you the best. Thank you for staying with me on a Saturday. And again, if you like the video and like the live YouTube live streaming, please just like the video so that I know. So thanks everybody, and have a great weekend.